Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. We're kicking off today's deep dive with a look at the most talked about posts from X Your Essential brisk roundup of the buzz across tech, finance, global affairs, and those intriguing unexpected moments. Our mission, as always, is to cut through the noise and give you the vital insights you need to truly be in the know.
That's precisely right. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding not just what's trending, but, why it matters and the deeper dynamics at play. We've sifted through the sources and we're ready to extract those key nuggets of knowledge. So let's jump straight into what's captured everyone's attention today.
All right, let's start with a pretty significant shift in the world of finance. This post comes from @Kobaisaletter. Fed Chair Powell has caved. In 1 month, the Fed will cut T rates and blame a weaker labor market. Meanwhile, we now have PPI inflation growth at a 3-year high and CPI inflation above 2% for 53 straight months. Don't own assets, you'll be left behind. Here's why. The thread. Powell has caved. That's a pretty bold claim right off the bat. What's the core story behind this assertive statement, and what does it really mean for us?
Well, this post really highlights a very real tension the Federal Reserve is navigating right now. On one side, we're seeing increasing pressure for Fed Chair Jerome Powell to pivot towards cutting interest rates. And that's primarily driven by a softening labor market. Unemployment has, ticked up to 4.2%.
4.2.
Yeah, and monthly job growth has slowed dramatically to just 35,000. So this data points towards a weakening economy, which, typically calls for stimulus through lower rates. However, the critical insight here, and this is the real bind, is that the Fed is grappling with persistent inflation on the other side. Consumer Price Index, CPI, has been above 2% for an astonishing 53 straight months.
53.
Exactly.
Wow.
And Producer Price Index, PPI, which measures inflation from the producer's side, often a leading indicator that's hit a 3-year high. So this makes any rate cut a really high-stakes gamble. It's a surprising turn when you consider the Fed's earlier average inflation targeting strategy.
Right, where they let it run hot for a bit.
Precisely. But their 2025 framework review shows a clear return to strict 2% inflation goals. And you add to this, rising tariffs are visibly impacting consumer prices. PCE inflation, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, is at 2.6% overall. And crucially, core PCE, which strips out volatile food and energy to get a clearer picture, that's even higher at 2.9%.
So still well above target then.
Definitely. The real takeaway is the razor-thin margin Powell have. He needs to avoid reigniting inflation while also, preventing a deeper economic downturn. It's the classic Fed dual mandate, maximum employment, and stable prices playing out with incredibly little room for error.
That is a truly delicate balancing act for the Fed. Definitely something to keep a close eye on. Okay, from global economics, let's shift to a fascinating intersection of innovation and public service. This post from @Elon Musk is short and sweet. Congrats, @Gebbia.
Right?
Elon usually has a reason for his concise messages. Who is Joe Gebbia, and why is his congrats getting so much attention?
Right. So this post points to a significant and frankly quite surprising development in government. Joe Gebbia is Joe Gebbia, one of the co-founders of Airbnb.
Airbnb, okay.
Exactly. And his appointment is particularly noteworthy because he's stepped into a brand new role, the first U.S. Chief Design Officer. And this position was specifically created by President Trump to modernize and overhaul, get this, 26,000 outdated federal web portals.
26,000. Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking. The core insight here is this, surprising bipartisan trend to actively draw top-tier private sector expertise into government, even from individuals like Gebbia, who, has had past Democratic leanings. It highlights a pragmatic recognition that government can learn a lot from private industry's focus on user experience.
Makes sense. Government websites aren't always the easiest to navigate.
Not typically, no. And early data from this National Design Studio initiative suggests it could cut user abandonment rates on federal sites by a notable 15% by 2026. Oh, and the accompanying image. Bigfoot relaxing on solar panels. That's, of course, a humorous nod to Musk's distinctive style.
Right. Blending environmental progress with his characteristic quirky brand of leadership. Okay, that's a truly unexpected and potentially transformative move, putting user experience front and center for government services. Speaking of technology making life easier, our next post comes directly from @Tesla. You don't have to leave your buddy at home when running errands. Just pop on dog mode list. For any pet owner listening, that is just music to their ears. How exactly does this dog mode work?
This is, a brilliant example of how technology can genuinely improve everyday life. Tesla's dog mode is designed to maintain a comfortable temperature inside the vehicle's cabin, so it ensures pets are safe and comfortable while their owners are away running errands.
Okay, so it keeps the AC or heat running.
Exactly. But what makes this particularly clever is that it also displays a clear message on that large dashboard screen for passersby. It lets them know the pet is secure, the climate control is actively running.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that addresses the concerned citizen issue right away.
It does. It offers immense peace of mind, not just for the owner, but also for people walking by who might otherwise worry and, break a window or something. It's practical innovation, integrating tech with everyday needs. And it typically uses about 4 miles of range per hour, depending on climate settings and outside temp.
Good to know the impact on range. It really is a game changer for pet owners. I can imagine countless relieved pets and owners already. From pet-friendly tech, let's turn to a more contentious topic impacting travel. This post is from @IononPatriot. Breaking cool Dallas-based Southwest Airlines will begin requiring plus-size passengers to purchase 2 seats. Thoughts? Okay, this policy is definitely bound to spark a significant debate. What's driving this decision from Southwest Airlines?
This is indeed a substantial shift in airline policy, and it's set to become effective on January 27, 2026. Southwest Airlines will now require plus-size passengers, those who need more space than a single seat provides, to purchase 2 seats. The crucial aspect to understand here is that this decision stems from their broader shift to assigned seating.
Right. They're moving away from the open seating cattle call.
Exactly. And that move was largely driven by customer feedback. A 2024 survey, for instance, indicated that 80% of travelers actually prefer assigned seats over Southwest's previous model. So this new policy directly reverses their unique, long-standing approach, which previously offered free extra seats to passengers of size if needed based on availability.
So it's quite a turnaround for them.
It is, and to put this in a broader context, it aligns with global trends. Other airlines, like Scoot in Australia, have already implemented similar measures. This really raises an important question, balancing passenger comfort and fairness with very real operational concerns. A 2019 FAA study, for example, highlighted that excess passenger weight can significantly increase fuel consumption.
Right, the cost implications.
Exactly. So while it's a deeply sensitive issue, there are clear practical and economic considerations at play. It's sparking strong opinions on both sides, as you'd expect.
Yeah, definitely a complex issue with many layers, both for passengers and the airlines. Let's shift gears now to something that will hopefully lift our spirits a bit. This post is from @AtensNut. Oh my heavens, these kids are amazing and do a terrific job on Cool Operator, a song from the 80s. I'm amazed at their age and talent. Odososos. They're called the Graystones. Okay, it sounds like a real feel-good moment. Tell us more about the Graystones and their cover of Cool Operator, or is it Smooth Operator?
Good catch. It's Sade's Smooth Operator. And yes, this is one of those viral moments that just puts a smile on your face. The Graystones are a remarkably talented young band from the San Francisco Bay Area. Their cover of Sade's iconic Smooth Operator has absolutely exploded online. We're talking millions of views since March 2025.
Millions, wow.
Yeah. The key takeaway here is just the sheer talent and musical maturity they display at such a young age. They managed to perfectly capture that sophisticated, smooth essence of the 80s classic. The band was co-founded by Grayson and Max when they were just 10 years old.
10, seriously.
Seriously. And other members like Hope, who delivers these really powerful vocals, and Philip on saxophone, they join through, serendipitous discoveries. Their sound is a fantastic blend of rock, pop, and blues, which has clearly resonated. And this performance taps into a wonderful nostalgic appreciation for 1980s music, reminding us of the original success of Saad's song from her amazing debut album, Diamond Life.
That's incredible. Inspiring to see young artists not just performing, but really getting the spirit of timeless music like that. What a fantastic discovery. Now let's dive into something a bit more, shall we say, thought-provoking. Concerning the shifts in our political landscape. This post is from @Chamath. The biggest differences between Republicans and Democrats used to be fiscal policy and their perceptions of the First and Second Amendments. A few years ago, it deviated wildly to individual freedom on one side and top-down control on the other. That's a pretty strong statement about how political lines have fundamentally shifted. What's the core insight Chamath is offering here?
Well, this post really brings into focus a significant ideological divergence that seems to have deepened dramatically in recent years. To exemplify this shift, Chamath's observation aligns with a specific poll he's likely referencing, a January 2022 Rasmussen Report survey. That survey revealed a really stark difference in attitudes. It found 59% of Democrats supported the idea of taking children from unvaccinated parents,
Wow.
compared to only 19% of Republicans. Now, obviously that's a very specific and extreme example, but it illustrates the kind of shift Chamath is describing, moving from, traditional debates over fiscal policy and constitutional interpretations to fundamental questions about individual freedom versus top-down government control.
And he ties this deviation to a few years ago. The pandemic era seems implied.
Exactly. That dynamic became particularly pronounced during the COVID-19 pandemic. And to put this in broader context, a 2021 study in the Journal of Medical Ethics specifically noted how public health measures, like vaccine mandates, can indeed polarize political groups. It suggests that while the immediate context might be health, the underlying debate often revolves around fundamental rights and the extent of state authority. It's a fundamental reevaluation.
That survey certainly paints a vivid picture of that ideological divide he's pointing to. Okay, moving from politics to another critical economic area, housing affordability. This post is from @Pulte. In a world where housing is too expensive, we do not need to subsidize housing for fraudsters by letting them get better rates than they deserve. End quote. A clear and direct stance against fraud in housing. What's the background here, especially with Pulte identified as the U.S. Director of Federal Housing?
Right. So assuming Pulte is indeed the FHFA director, a role potentially held since 2025, this post places him squarely at the center of housing policy. This highlights his direct critique of housing subsidies that might inadvertently benefit fraudsters. It's a concern that ties into the much broader debate about the Federal Housing Finance Agency's oversight of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
The big mortgage giants.
Exactly. And with house prices having risen by 2.8% from May 2024 to May 2025, affordability remains a huge pressing issue. So this situation raises an important question about the integrity of housing programs. Are they effectively reaching their intended beneficiaries? His stance also echoes some recent political pressure, like calls for Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to resign over separate mortgage fraud claims.
Okay, so there's a wider context of concern about fraud?
There is. And furthermore, economic studies have indicated that subsidized mortgage rates, while intended to help, can sometimes disproportionately benefit wealthier buyers or, as Pulte highlights, potentially incentivize fraudulent claims. So his point is quite pertinent in the current economic climate. He's advocating for stricter controls to ensure resources go to those genuinely in need, not those exploiting the system.
It certainly adds another complicated layer to the whole housing affordability discussion. Now, for something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie scene, seriously. This post is from @ColinRugg. New W. Driver stops for gas in the middle of a high-speed police chase and still manages to get away. The individual was running from police after allegedly stealing a car. The man was seen looking right into the camera of the police helicopter as he stopped to get some. Talk about brazen. A gas stop mid-chase. That's truly next-level defiance. What happened next after that audacious move?
Yeah, this incident is genuinely one of the most audacious pursuit stories we've heard in a while. We're talking about a high-speed police chase in Los Angeles involving a stolen blue Infiniti sedan. And the crucial aspect, the thing that makes it so unbelievable, is that moment of absolute defiance. The suspect, while actively being pursued by LAPD helicopters, coolly pulls into a gas station to refuel.
And looks right at the camera.
Apparently so. Just incredible nerve. The chase itself involved speeds upwards of 130 miles per hour on major freeways, which obviously presents significant public safety concerns. Ultimately, the suspect managed to evade capture by abandoning the vehicle and fleeing on foot.
He got away after all that.
He did. And this event has, as you can imagine, sparked a lot of discussion on social media. It also raises important questions, again, about police pursuit tactics. Organizations like the Police Executive Research Forum have advocated for limiting chases, especially in dense areas, due to the dangers.
Right, the risk versus reward calculation.
Exactly. It's a wild story that really underscores the unpredictability and sometimes absurdity of these situations.
Incredible. That's a truly wild story. You just don't expect that kind of brazenness. Okay, next up, a bold prediction from the world of crypto. This post from @WatcherGuru states, just in, Eric Trump predicts Bitcoin will surpass $175,000 this year and calls himself a Bitcoin maxi. Eric Trump is calling himself a Bitcoin maxi and predicting a huge surge for Bitcoin. What exactly is a Bitcoin maxi, and how realistic is this kind of prediction?
Well, Eric Trump's prediction of Bitcoin hitting $175,000 in 2025 is certainly a very, very bullish forecast. It does align with other optimistic projections out there. For example, digital coin price is even estimated an average price around $210,000.
Oh,
Yeah. So, to clarify, a Bitcoin maxi or maximalist is someone who believes in Bitcoin's absolute superiority over all other cryptocurrencies. This belief is largely rooted in Bitcoin's fundamental properties: its strictly capped supply of 21 million coins, its decentralization, and its first mover advantage. They see these as foundational to its long-term value.
so they think Bitcoin is the only crypto that really matters long term.
Essentially, yes, that's the core belief. It reflects a strong conviction in Bitcoin's unique value proposition. However, it's always important to remember with crypto price predictions, while they're often exciting, they can sometimes, overstate things due to speculative bubbles and market volatility. While this optimism is part of a broader global crypto surge, we also need to acknowledge the other side. There are ongoing discussions and reports about crypto's vulnerabilities.
Like illicit use.
Exactly. Things like its use in money laundering, with some reports suggesting illicit funds being converted into gold via crypto. So it's definitely a market with both immense potential and significant risks.
A Bitcoin maxi. Okay, good to know. Makes sense. Finally, we have a post capturing what sounds like a powerful, intense image, potentially from Global Affairs. This one is from @EndWokeness. Masked protester versus water cannon. This sounds incredibly intense. What's captured in this post, and what's the likely context?
Yeah, this post, referencing a video, depicts a very intense confrontation. It shows a masked protester being directly hit by a powerful stream from a water cannon during what appears to be a protest. The post itself draws a rather dramatic comparison, calling it like a Dragon Ball Z fatality, which really emphasizes the force and, well, the dramatic nature of the event captured.
Okay, so a very forceful impact.
Definitely. And to put this in broader context, water cannons have a long and often controversial history. They've been used in riot control situations since at least 1919. Modern versions, as you can imagine, are highly sophisticated, often allowing for remote operation. This can reduce direct risk to operators, but potentially increases the impact or perceived attachment towards protesters.
Right, and the source, @EndWokeness.
That's important context, too. That account is known for its focus on critiquing perceived overreactions or excesses within social justice movements or progressive activism. So this video is framed within that broader cultural and political discourse. It sparks significant debate about protest dynamics, the use of force by authorities, and the rights of demonstrators. It's a stark image, a reminder of the often volatile nature of public demonstrations and the tools used to control them.
And that wraps up our daily videcasting for today.
Ah.
Wow. From the incredibly delicate dance with inflation to groundbreaking government innovation in the shifting political landscape, it's been quite a whirlwind of insights. It's amazing how much more you can understand when you truly cut straight to the core of these trending stories.
Absolutely. The digital town square is always buzzing, always throwing up new perspectives and insights. The key for us and for you, the listener, is to not just consume the information, but to really distill it, connect the dots, and always ask, what's the underlying dynamic here? What's really going on? Ultimately, what so many of these posts highlight, from the Fed's Balancing Act to private sector innovation entering government, even the debates around airline policies or protest tactics, it's often a constant tension between established systems and rapid change. The challenge for us as informed citizens is maybe to discern which forces are truly shaping our future and where the real leverage for influence actually lies. Keep digging, keep questioning, and join us next time for another deep dive into the Daily Buzz.